Radio and podcasts. Free never sounded so good. Navigating today's real estate market can be tricky. Want to buy or sell a house, finance or insure a house, or stuck with a house and don't know what to do? Florida Talk Real Estate has been your local one-stop real estate shop since 2012. Get the advice you need from your local real estate pros. Here are your hosts, Jim DePola and Johnny C. live on Real Radio.
Yeah, good Saturday morning to you. Welcome to another edition. It's Florida Talk Real Estate, and we got you for the next 2 hours of infotainment. 92.1, 101.7. Thanks for being there. Of course, if you're using your free download, your iHeartRadio app, that's amazing. And by the way, you could be like worldwide on that. Maybe in Ireland or somewhere like that. I'm just saying, possibly. It works. It's a remarkable thing. And we live stream on a Saturday. Great to have you with us. If you're on Facebook, Florida Talk Real Estate on Facebook. On YouTube as well, that's Florida Talk Real Estate LLC. Home of a ton of informational chunk videos, plus a live stream. If you're with us, thank you. If you're not, you can find your way over there and join that stream. Check out a few beautiful faces and maybe one that's not so. You determine. That's one of those like choose your own adventure situations right there. Yeah. You can dial in as well. Be part of the program. Toll free 877-927-6969. Questions, comments, concerns in the world of real estate. You want to dive into the conversation at hand? Do it. First voice you hear, there's my brother from another mother, our producer extraordinaire, Jimothy. What's up, dude?
Hello, and good morning, gentlemen. Happy to be here with you on a Saturday. Nice day out, too.
Oh, it is. Yeah, that's it's bonus.
Yeah.
Good to see you as always, dude.
Good to see you as well, Johnny. Thank you.
Jimothy gave me an awesome gift out of nowhere today, and I will share it with you guys in a second after I give you some introductions. I'm your old buddy, your pal, Johnny C. Mike Rauch, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm, starts the very important portion here.
Which portion? The introductions.
The introductions
Nice.
of our amazing team.
Yeah.
What's
Good
up,
morning
Mike?
to you.
How are
Jimothy gave me a surprise today, too. Huh?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, you got a little sloppy second.
I might have. I love it, though.
Oh, sorry.
If it's Mike.
If it's the same, you're blessed.
Timothy, he goes, how's things? How's life? And I'm like, good. And it's a beautiful day out, right? We got that going for us, right?
Yeah,
It's
totally.
a gorgeous morning. I was telling him that Tiffany, her sister's up in PA, and they woke up to a couple inches of snow this morning.
A little cold. Yeah, a little cold.
Yeah, so nice. I'm doing well, thank you.
Good.
Hi, everybody.
I can't wait to hear what you got, by the way.
Oh, I got nothing.
Because if you damn.
No.
Because if you got what I got, it's awesome.
No. My gift was Jimothy opening the door and his smile.
Oh, Well, I do get that every Saturday.
We're lucky he's not on the in the face competition.
Well, no, because then I'd be like, take me off there, please. That's not fair. This is ridiculous.
Hey, amateurs only.
Now,
pros.
We ran out of music, but normally there's a bed under me when I tell you that our fearless leader is here as well. He's run a top producing Keller Williams team for, I told you, for 13 plus years now. Keller Williams Innovations. You find the Florida Home Pros team. There's Jimmy D. Jim DePola, how you be?
Hey, happy South Florida. I think it's about to snow down here. It's 66 in April.
I know it might happen.
I
Right?
know, right? Hey, I think what Jimmy gave Johnny needs antibiotics.
The drip.
Did you get it?
That's good. That's good.
No, I did not.
Oh.
I turned it down. I said, no thanks.
I thought that was dormant for you.
Well, I've been working on it with
That's-
doctors, certain doctors.
It's flared up.
Took some ivermectin.
They call it non-detectable.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's still there though,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Not a trace.
It only burns once in a while.
yeah. What are you gonna do? Yeah. So over COVID, I think a lot of people may have become familiar with a text or something that might come at you with this guy. His name was Wardy.
Wardy?
Very
or Wordy?
X-rated. Wardy.
Wardy, no.
Wardy. So I looked into who this guy was.
Right.
Unfortunately, he passed away some time ago. But he was I guess he did a naked calendar shoot for like a fundraiser thing for like a firefighter thing, and it made its way around the world.
It went viral.
Yeah, huge black gentleman, huge in every way. He is just. I mean, he spent
He's
some
blessed.
time. He spent some
He's
time in the
blessed.
gym. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a monster sitting on the edge of the bed. You may have seen it.
Oh,
it may
of
have
course.
come across your plate.
Yeah, the
If
guy
you-
sitting on the edge of the bed. Yes.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember that.
with no clothes on.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I loved it. It was
Hilarious.
so if you got it, you have really cool friends, or your friends are probably people I should know. Because like
Yeah.
I love your people. That's if you're being sent that, I love you and I love your people, right? That's
It would
good.
be something like, Jim, you get a text and be like, oh, check out this article on real estate. And then you click it, and then
and
this guy
there's
shows up.
Wardy,
Picture
right?
In all his glory.
In
Yeah.
all his
Yeah.
glory. Yes. Yeah. And I have seen it in every possible delivery.
Listen, if you're out there listening to us, Jim doesn't know what this is. So you can just, if you have Jim in
Oh
your
my
cell
God.
phone,
Send it
shoot
to
him
me.
a text.
I'm gonna, you know what?
Shoot him a text.
I'm gonna make sure you see Wardy in a bunch of different ways now, Jimmy D.
That's funny.
Because you've never experienced it.
never
I'm-
heard of this.
Actually,
Never
I'm
heard
sure
of
you have. You
it.
just
No,
didn't
I don't
realize
think
it.
so.
You know, even in the texts that we go back and forth with,
Right.
you know, members of the show, where every now and then I think we sprinkled it in
I
there
don't
somewhere.
remember
A little
seeing
bit,
that.
maybe.
But
remember
in
that.
one way or another. But usually in the aftermath, like, you know, Johnny and I were talking about it when that first came out. It was an internet joke sensation. I mean, everywhere you turned, it was. Now it's just kind of peppered in here and there, right? And somebody will send a picture, and it'll be like the blue sky, right, and some clouds, and you don't think like, what is it? And then you make
You
it out like
zoom in.
one of the clouds is the shape of Wardy.
Of
Yeah.
Wardy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not dirty.
I'm
at
guilty of that.
point. And-
Yeah,
and,
okay.
I had a
so-
guy who had a bruise on his arm. So
Yeah, there you
if
go.
you zoomed in on his bruise,
There's
you know,
Wardy.
yeah.
I never heard this meme. I missed out on it.
in the smoke and the fires in LA.
Sure, there
there's
you go.
like it just turned into so it. Well, this morning Jimothy comes out. He's got this big grin on his face, and he found these Wardy stickers. Now they're little, just all black. Like if you see the silhouette and you know it, you know it. But it puts so much joy in my life. And you may, if you know me, you may have one of these hiding on your car somewhere. in the next
Oh.
couple weeks.
Nice. Oh, they're stickers.
Yeah, decals.
Like a bumper sticker.
Decals.
Yeah.
They're more decal-y. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
How many you got, Timothy?
A few. 877-927-6969. Not to start a Wardy conversation, but I just had to share that joy with you guys. Especially if you
funny.
if you get it. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Isn't
You know,
that
you know what's funny is I know exactly what it is, but I never knew the name.
So
Yeah.
I really fell
Okay.
in love with it. It got to the point where if you were like in my regular, you were like, man, I'm not clicking anything you send me.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah,
not.
exactly.
You were obsessed with it.
I was because people would just say they knew it, so I would get all the variations. So I would send
Send 'em
all
out
the
back out.
variations.
That's
Yeah,
a
it's,
good
it's
way
like
to
a
say
mod.
that
It's like a
story.
modern version of getting Rickrolled, essentially.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Really, truly, in an awesome way. Sorry to derail the show, Jimmy D.
No, that's it. No, I'm happy. Do we have Chris on the phone?
we do have
I
Chris on the
thought so.
phone. Yeah, Chris is calling in to talk about an open house. So just let me know when you want to throw it his way.
Yeah, let's go ahead and roll right into the open house for this Saturday. How about that?
Sounds
Well, there
great.
you go, Chris. You're on the air. Or where's your open house, buddy?
Good morning, gentlemen. Hey,
Good morning.
so the open house today is at 5 Danby Place in Boynton Beach. We've got a great little 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. It's a cute little neighborhood on a cul-de-sac. It's a really quiet, calm area there. So it's going to be a good day.
Yes, it is. It is, Chris. Thank you so much for doing the open house today. It is a really nice home, and it's hard to find houses with brand new roofs, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, single-family home, low HOA, under $500,000. So, like, this is like if somebody's looking for a single-family home and they're saying they can't afford it in Palm Beach County, there's plenty of places where you can find the deals if you have the right attitude.
Right.
And this is a great neighborhood, right, Chris? I mean, this isn't in some kind of high crime neighborhood where you're worried about walking out your door or something, right?
Not at all. No, I think this is one of those hidden gem neighborhoods. You don't really realize it's there. And then you get in there and you're driving around and, wow, this is really cute. It's so calm. There's multiple parks. The community has a couple of swimming pools that are just a quick couple-minute walk away from the house. So, yeah, it's really a fantastic little neighborhood. And then the other part about it, too, which is really nice, is you've got, within a few minutes, you've got your Publix grocery store. You've got a variety of great restaurants, and everything is just super close. And you're just a few minutes off of 95, too. So if you need to get out of town, you've got quick access as well.
Yep, and this house is about 1,400 square feet under air, and it's 19 under roof. One of the things I really like about this is that the living space, it has the formal dining room, living room inside the house, but they have this huge enclosed sunroom that's air conditioned through separate air conditioning, not through the central air. But it's really large, and the sunroom is awesome in the backyard. And their unit, their lot faces the back of a green space area. So you're not like looking over neighbors and stuff like that. You have some green space. I could see you sitting out and sipping a cup of coffee in the morning before getting over to work or coming home and having that. And Chris is right out that back door, out of that sunroom, you just walk a few steps, well, a little more than a few steps, but less than half a block away or something, are one of the community pools. And there's 2 community pools in here. And I'm looking right now, and the HOA is, under 400. And this house has a 2025 roof, right? So if you're worried about like future insurance, you really don't have to. And the house is in excellent condition. It has some upgraded, upgraded appliances, and it's got a remodeled master bath. It's one of those walk-in baths, Mike. Have you ever seen those where you kind of like, I don't even know how those work. What do? You walk in and you shut the door, and then you turn on the water?
It's a walk-in tub.
Yeah,
right?
It's a walk-in tub. Yeah, I said shower, right? I meant to say tub.
You said bath. I went, okay. Yeah, but you open a door, you get in, you close the door, it seals and holds in water.
Then you hold the water.
Kind of cool. Yeah.
Yep.
So you don't have to step into it or
So when will you be there, Chris?
A little threshold, I would think. Much.
Yeah. So I'll be there today from 11 o'clock until 2 o'clock. And I think, Jim, the other thing I wanted to point out, too, is a lot of people get worried or scared about HOAs. And with this particular property, the HOA covers all of your yard maintenance, cable TV, and internet. I don't know the last time you guys looked at your cable TV and internet bill, but that's $200 a month easy right there. So the fact that you get all of that, plus all of the access to the community features, the HOA is really it's fees that you would pay for other services at any house as well.
That's great.
And just one more note too on this house. What's really neat is that I've never seen this before. There's sliders in the back into the sunroom, obviously, but in the front of the house, right off the kitchen, there's another nice set of big sliding doors. So not only do you get the sunrise off the back porch, sun-screened enclosure in the morning, you can also sit down with a bottle of wine and watch the sunset out the other side of the house. So it's a really unique layout that's really quite nice.
It really is. And the name of the community, Chris? Did I stump you?
Yeah, you stumped me. I know this, but you stumped me. You caught me off guard.
That's funny. I didn't mean to do that to you, Chris. It's Boynton Lakes. It's Boynton Lakes. I think this is actually in the state of Boynton Lakes, but I'm not sure. But it's in Boynton Lakes, which is a very well-known community out over in Boynton Beach. So if you want to go out, take a look at that house today. It's a really good value. And when I say under $500,000, I didn't actually say the price. I wasn't trying to hide it. Only $460,000. Huh. So it isn't like it's at $499, right? This is like well under $500,000, ready to go. You can move into this house. You don't really have to do anything to move in. If you want it updated, you could. You could do some of that. It has a really nice oversized garage. They use it for a billiard room right now. They use it for billiard room, the owners right now. So please go out and meet Chris out there from 11 to 2. And also Haley Marguerite, also from our office, KW Innovations, is going to be there helping Chris for that open house.
What time?
From 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock today. Perfect. At 5 Danby. Danby is Danby. People on Facebook and YouTube might have seen a little bit of me trying to screen share the photos of the property, but I'm not sure it came out very well. So if you want to check it out, just go to Florida Talk Real Estate on Facebook, and you can find out more information about the property before you head out there.
Excellent.
Okay. Well, Chris, can you do me a favor? Sell that house.
Let's go.
Okay, let's sell it. Sell that house. Okay, let's make it move it.
Will do.
Okay, man. Thank you so
day.
much.
Yeah, man. Have a great day out there. Thanks for the phone call.
See you, Chris.
Oh, I forgot. I should have congratulated Chris. Chris put his first deal under contract ever as a realtor.
Nice.
He had a friend that wanted to buy like Pierre de Terre, I call it. I know I'm not saying it right because I'm not French, but isn't it Pierre de Terre? It's
You
like
said that before, and I had to look it up.
Yeah.
What did it mean?
It means like a small residential place that used just to like a crash pad. Like you're not living there full time.
How would
It's
you
just like
pronounce
a
that,
little-
Johnny?
Yeah.
I don't know. But,
it sounds good. Why does it? Yeah,
yeah.
you don't like it?
But
Pierre de
yeah,
Terre?
so he found a really nice
It's a
condo,
stabbing cabin.
a 1-1 condo. Listen to this: 1-1 condo, 1 block off the beach at the Hollywood Broadwalk. So you walk less than a block, and you're on the Broadwalk in Hollywood. Under $250,000, and the condo has done everything for the concrete restoration. It's all done, finished. Don't have to worry about it looking in the rearview mirror. And $200,000 to live a half a block or a block off the beach.
Excellent.
Pretty nice.
Johnny's pretty much right on the money there.
What's that?
It's a French term that refers to a secondary residence, often a small apartment or house in a city that someone uses for occasional or temporary stays.
Oh, the city part is the part I don't get. Use it for what? What did you use it for?
Occasional or temporary stays.
Oh,
and Johnny, you might have missed because you were talking what he called it, but he was right.
They should just call it
It's
Airbnb. It sounds like
you had your country
temporary
house,
stay.
and then you'd work in the city, and then you'd have your city house that you could go to, for lunch or
little
quick
spot over there.
quick spot after work.
Yeah, maybe you needed to just dive in for
Nibble on something.
Yeah.
So everybody try to check out that open house, 5 Danby Place, DAMBY, Boynton Beach, Florida, and go meet Chris there 11 to 2.
I think it's priced, Jim. It's not priced under 500. It's priced in the mid 4s. I think it qualifies as the mid 400s, right?
Yes,
I like it.
You could say that mid 4s.
What sounds better?
If I'm a buyer, mid 4 sounds better than under 5.
Boy, it sounds great, but I'm with you. Mid 4 sounds better than under 5.
And at 460, I think it does qualify in the mid 4s. It's in the middle.
Yeah, I would say that's mid 4s.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say it's upper mid 4s.
Not
just
yet.
mid 4s.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not yet.
7 would be
7.5.
might be upper
Right.
mid.
Right.
7.5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're in the mid 4s.
Mid.
The
I don't know if we
middle
go
middle
mid-mid.
4s. Yeah.
Mid might be pushing.
Later, we're going to be talking about all these statistics when it comes to everything that happened in the mortgage world this week. Oh my gosh, I got whiplash. I should have walked in with a neck brace.
really?
I got more like ear lash. 'Cause it was just it was a lot of chatter.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But just want to do some shout outs to our Facebook and YouTube crew. Thank you so much. Mom, thank you. Nate, thank you. He calls all the time. I promise I'm going to call you back. And Elaine, she's checking us out all the time. So Elaine, nice to see you again over here. Wishing all of you guys a happy Saturday, and try to like and share the stuff on Facebook and YouTube to let other people know about us. Wanted to talk a little bit about a couple of shout outs, but also some teachable moments. I call this segment seller buyers everywhere.
Oh, I like it.
Seller buyers everywhere, because that's happening a lot right now, where people are selling their house and then either downsizing, upsizing, getting out of state sizing. Right, whatever they're doing.
Seller buyers in particular need the proceeds from the sale of their home, right? That's if we're going to go seller buyer,
right?
You need
Full
those proceeds.
Seller buyer means I need the money from the sale of my house to buy the new home, and Jim, don't make me homeless. Right. So that's the whole thing, that you don't want to have that gap, or you want a manageable gap at the very most. I did make somebody homeless again. This week. Remember last week I made Daniel and Lynn homeless. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Because I locked the bottom lock on the key when we were.
And nobody told you that
we didn't have a key.
It was
to the
a different
lock.
key for that lock.
Yep.
Don't lock that one.
So I made them homeless. Well, I made
I feel
Greg
like that's
and Diane.
the seller's responsibility to sort out the key situation. You're like,
I would think
here's a key for each lock in this house.
Technically, the sellers are supposed to, it's in the as-is contract, where the sellers are supposed to give all keys to the property. So if you have a different key for the front door than your side door in the garage, you need to give both keys. And if you have a garage door opener, you must give
the code or whatever.
Garage door opener.
Oh, the remote
actually
entry.
clicker, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're supposed to do all that. We're always hyper about that with our listings. We actually make you sign a form. Not only do we make you sign a form, but it's actually in the listing agreement saying you will do this. You will provide keys and clickers. And if you're in a community, if you have a gate pass to get in or pool keys or mailbox keys, you got to give all the keys. You can't just say, oh, here's one key to the house. Figure everything else yourself.
You can definitely say we haven't had that key for I don't know how long. We just don't have it.
Technically, no. What you're supposed to do, we put it in our thing saying that if you don't have the key, then you're going to get a key at your cost. So if you have to rekey it, get a new lock, not get a new lock, just get a key. Whatever you have to do, it's your responsibility. But not all agents do that. And with this house, and it's kind of interesting because this wasn't really necessarily the realtor's fault. She was pretty good through the whole thing. She was a good realtor. Thank God. Thank you, Millie. But this house, the family was very techie. So their keys were in their phones, right? Their garage door opener was in their phone. It was an app in their phone. So they didn't have clicker stuff, right? Everything was built into their phone. So they didn't really have keys, right? They just didn't have them. But they also didn't leave us instructions of what apps they were using for each of the phones. You got to be smart. And all that. Yeah.
It's a smart house. Smart house. Yeah.
So I guess if you're not smart, you can't buy the house anymore. That's what they call it. That's a pretty cool one, Mike. So anyway, so I made them homeless.
And not necessarily fair to say that you made them homeless because they still had a home. They just couldn't get into it.
Exactly.
You made them fellas. They had to break in.
That's almost worse, though. Imagine buying something you really want to get into it, but you can't.
Right.
It's like, haha.
It's even worse. Like you did a whole key ceremony. You gave them the keys, you took the pictures, and then it just happened to be the wrong key.
Yeah,
it's like Price or Right. You put it in.
Not the right key.
Your key does not start the car.
Hey, good morning, Susan. Good morning, Francis. Our crowd is building on the show. Thank you so much. So what happened with the seller buyers everywhere is I had 2 seller buyer closings this week, right? So we had Bobby and Becky, and we had Greg and Diane, right? So completely 2 different experiences, okay? And I got a hug yesterday when we closed, and it made me tear up because it was such a bad situation for one of these 2 families that I couldn't believe that they were just still so happy to have worked with me, because let me tell you, they went through heck and back, and I can't believe what they went through. And we did everything we could, but it was a tough seller buyer situation.
Yeah.
And we didn't make anybody homeless.
I'm sure when the hug was the thanks for riding us through that.
It was
those rough patches.
But there were a lot of people who could have been just angry at the world and the whole situation, and handle it differently. Yeah, and then just be angry at me too, and they didn't, and that just shows you the beautiful kind of people they are.
Totally.
So let me tell you, because we always talk about seller buyers because I do specialize in them, and there is a system that you have to do for this, and if you don't do it that way, you go through a lot of pain. Now, let me tell you about Greg and Diane first. So Greg and Diane, people know I've talked about this a couple of times, this family, because I really enjoyed working with them. We closed this week. I only met them 37 days before we closed or something. It was that fast, I think. I think we sold their house in 8 days, got it under contract. The day that people were inspecting their property to sell, we put them under contract for a property to buy. So within 9 days after we met, we already had both deals under contract, both deals inspected, both deals were cash. So we didn't have any loans to deal with or anything. So it was how fast can we close this thing? It was awesome.
And you guys were intentional about waiting to get into contract on the purchase until their home was under contract for sale?
Well, with that one, what happened was Greg and Diane had a really nice home in Coral Springs, right? And they needed to downsize. It was time to downsize. They wanted to be closer to their kids and grandkids who were in Palm Beach County, roughly the Boynton area, but they never lived in Palm Beach County. And Palm Beach County then was a county that they just had no reasons to go too much, so they didn't know the area that well. So they were looking everywhere from Boynton to Boca to Lake Worth, not sure in where. I was pretty sure they were going to land in Boynton because there's a lot of 55 and over communities that are very affordable with really good amenities. And I know they were looking for less work around the house because they had a pretty big lot in Coral Springs and it wasn't in an HOA and it was a big house and there was a lot of work. So we had a range of what we could put their house for, and they picked the middle range, which I think was very smart for them because they understood that it was very important for them to get a buyer so they can lock in the house that they wanted when they found their dream home, right?
Yeah.
So what happened with them, they put their house on the middle of the market, and we got a decent, even when it was a little bit slow at that point, this is about a month and a half ago, they were starting to get some showings, and we didn't really have that many, and somebody came in right away and wanted to buy the house cash. So that was awesome. Now, the week we put the house on the market, we went looking too. And we must have looked at 5 or 6 homes, I think, I'm guessing. And there were a couple they liked, but nothing that they were in love with. But there was maybe one that they wanted to put an offer on, but the roof was very old and they didn't want to deal with an older roof. And the house wasn't under contract yet, so they wanted to wait. Well, the house went under contract almost immediately after that.
Right.
Then we went out to a new group of houses and they found the one. It was awesome.
The one they ended up buying.
Yes, it was D1, and it was D1. Like as soon as they walked in, the layout was perfect for them. They loved the community because some of the communities they would drive around, they were like, I like the house, not the community.
Mm-hmm.
This community was great. It had a low HOA. It's centrally located in Boynton. Tons of shopping around there and everything for them to make things convenient. And here's the best part. The people bought it like during COVID or maybe 22 or something like that. And they were living someplace else and they moved down here and bought this house just to basically be down here for COVID. So they brought in an interior designer and they interior designed the whole place with all the furniture, the knickknacks, the paintings, everything looked like an interior designer came in and did everything. They left all the furniture with the house. The whole house was completely furnished, super Mac Daddy. And they left everything there as part of the deal.
Wow.
Yeah. And they left the paintings on the wall, the knickknacks on the shelves and the countertops and everything.
They
It
just
was
want to
crazy.
be completely done with it.
Yeah. And so it was a really, really great experience for them.
That's amazing.
Now, Diane called me up. Diane is the woman that I made fun of on the show and then apologized, remember? Because I did apologize a couple of weeks ago to Diane. She was very concerned because she's a seller buyer. She was very concerned, well, what happens if one of the deals falls apart? Am I going to be trapped where I could lose my deposit for the house I'm putting on?
Mm-hmm.
If my house doesn't close, or what happens if my house closes and for some reason the other deal is going to fall apart and I have no place to live? Very real,
legit
concerns,
yes.
Right? But what I explained to Diane, your cash, you've done the inspections, everything's pretty much done on both houses. The only thing we have to do is get you through the HOA in your community and make sure the title clears on both houses, and we're done. Your house, you've lived there 20 years. You're going to know if you have any title issues, right?
Hopefully.
Right? Most people would know. And then on the sales side, they only own the house for a couple of years. So it had already done title just a couple of years ago. So chances are, I mean, there always could be a problem, but chances are that's not going to happen.
Right.
So I was joking with them and saying, Diane, don't worry about this. And then I said, well, if you want to worry, Diane, let's really worry. The house could blow up. I said, the house could blow up or your house could catch fire, right? And I was bringing up all these crazy ideas.
Yeah, sinkhole.
And then a week later,
You're manifesting.
I'm doing show prep and I read an article that some house in Brodeberg, Ohio
blew up
while it was pending.
Oh, yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah.
While it was pending because there was a gas leak and it obliterated the house. I mean, there was nothing left, right? And then I was like, and I'm teasing Diane about what she could worry about. And I actually use that example. It's like, what are you going to worry about? The house blowing up?
Yeah.
So I don't say that anymore.
Nope.
So Diane got me. So
you
Diane,
could probably say it 100 times, but that one time the house blows up and you're like, oh,
Yeah,
Jim brought this into existence.
That's the example I brought up.
So when they closed, they were really happy because they did electronic signing. So I wasn't actually there the day they closed. I was there when they signed, but we signed on a Friday. They closed on a Monday.
Yeah.
So everything was done on Monday. They were just waiting for the money to be wired everywhere. So this is how it works.
They call that a RON closing these days.
What's that?
Remote online notary.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So you have notarized documents, and that's usually like any of the notarized documents.
RON.
are typically, they have to be done in person. So things like, when you're financed, the promissory note, the mortgage, but the deed documents are notarized. So, but yeah, you're able
You
to
can
do
do notary
online
now.
notary.
Wow,
Yeah.
Ron, I never heard of that before. Learned something
They
every
do
day.
that with like, you have video. They're able to see your driver's license. There's a witness usually.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So with Diane, when we closed, she called me back, or I called her later that day to say congratulations. It was really late. I called her like 8:00 at night, and she goes, "Jim, you made us homeless. You made us homeless." And she was joking, right? And I'm like, "I did. What happened?" She goes, "It took us 30 minutes to get the keys. We didn't have a place to live for 30 minutes." So I was laughing about that. But for a week, they sent me a picture because they had to sell all their stuff because they were getting brand new stuff in their house. So for like a few days, maybe a week, they were living on camping chairs. All they had was their bedroom set and 2 foldable camping chairs with one of those circular foldable tables.
Yeah.
And that's all they had in their house, right? While they were waiting to move into their other house.
I think I could do that for a couple days.
I think so.
it
Yeah,
is.
camping on your
Chilling,
clothes,
right?
yeah.
Probably get me
Especially if you live in there
margarita.
20, and especially when you're living there 20 years, so you can reflect all the things that happened in the house.
Probably
and everything.
bittersweet.
It was probably very cool for them.
I'm sure there was a lot
So
of
anyway,
bittersweet
congratulations. That was the perfect seller-buyer deal, right? The money was wired. In case people wonder how it happens, the buyers on the purchase of Greg and Diane's home closed in the morning. The money was in the bank account with the title company for that closing. Then that title company was already pre-instructed, send the money over to the other title company so that Greg and Diane could pay cash for their house. So that's how it all worked. Worked out perfect. Thank you so much.
Excellent.
Hopefully, we're going to actually have Greg and Diane on the show one day and actually talk about their seller-buyer experience. Now, I want to do a shout-out to, let's take a break because it's 9:30, and then we're going to do a shout-out to Bobby and Becky. Now, Bobby and Becky closed yesterday, but they did not have the same experience, and I always try to be transparent with people on the show to show what could happen. It wasn't the worst experience ever because it did close, but we did not have the same experience, and we just want to show you the difference.
All right, very good. Every situation is like a snowflake.
Everyone's
right?
different.
Yeah, very unique. And you got to have pros when you're going through very unique situations. Some very smooth, some not so smooth. And if you're being led by somebody that is an expert in their field, it can be the best that it can be for you. That's why we encourage you to go to floridatalkrealestate.com. Looking to buy a home, sell a home, you're stuck with a home, you don't know what to do. floridatalkrealestate.com is a team of pros to get done what you're trying to get done, the way that you're hoping to get her done. Know what I'm talking about? That's what I'm talking about. Know it, use it, love it, share it. It's floridatalkrealestate.com. We're back in 4 minutes. Thanks for being with us every Saturday. Florida Talk Real Estate right here. It's Real Radio.
We're everywhere you need to be. Find your favorite show at realradio921.com. Real Radio weather.
I'm CBS 12 meteorologist Charlotte Carl. Those temperatures will continue to rise, but we will only get into the lower 80s, which is a little bit cooler than yesterday for your afternoon highs, thanks to a cool front that will be moving through the area. Overnight, we'll see temperatures drop into the 50s, and then tomorrow afternoon, a rinse and repeat forecast. Beautiful blue skies expected all weekend.
This report is sponsored by Smith, Ball, Baez, and Prather Injury Lawyers.
This is Scott Smith with Smith, Ball, Baez, and Prather. Our purpose, legal power. Our mission, huge results. Call us at 500-HELP, 500-HELP. Help is just a local phone call away.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rauch from The Mortgage Firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rauch will get you the answers you need. The Mortgage Firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rauch, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Camaronets, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
Real Radio 92.1. We are an iHeart radio station. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
Yep, 877-927-6969. That is toll free. We are live on this 12th, April 12th. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Thumbs up. Beautiful. That's good.
It's almost the middle of April.
Almost. Yep, that's crazy.
I know. 2025.
Insane.
I know.
Zooming by. My gosh.
It's been a
Yeah, it has.
heck of 120 days.
Yeah. Johnny C, that's me. Timothy's our producer extraordinaire. How are you, dude?
Doing mighty fine. Good morning, gentlemen.
Here's Mike Rauch, the mortgage guy from the Mortgage Firm. How was your birthday weekend, by the way?
Pretty quiet.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you, I don't know.
I don't
lighten it up.
Yeah, no.
No?
No. It was quiet. Stayed home. We didn't even do cake.
No cake?
No cake.
Ice cream? Did you
No.
do like a cookie?
Mm-mm.
Cupcakes?
Nope. You know what happened?
What?
Tiffany's birthday is February. It's Valentine's Day.
Her birthday's Valentine's
Yeah.
Day? That's so cool because you don't have to memorize anything.
I think, yeah, it's easy to remember.
Sort of easy. Yeah, that's for sure.
You also kind of get you like some people say, oh, you get double the gifts, and it's like, no, you get the one gift to take care of both occasions.
Kind of, yeah.
Right? Like, so that's worked out. But this year, my daughter had a competition that was out of
right.
the state, the state weightlifting or whatever, and so it was that weekend, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. So it was basically
her birthday.
I was out of town for her birthday.
Right.
Yeah. So my birthday was pretty low key this year.
She got you back. She got you back.
And that's why you had no cake. You didn't get a cake.
Which I didn't mind in the slightest. Like, if it were me, it would be like, we don't have to do anything ever.
You got to have something.
I know.
I prefer the ice cream cake personally, but you have to have at least one candle. You got to be like, happy birthday.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're putting it in a baked potato.
Oh, maybe there might have been something.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Baked potato. Good. Whatever it is.
Johnny's a romantic, though. He you do stuff like that. Like little things.
Little, yeah.
Yeah, little things.
I can't offer much more. Our fearless leader, he's right over there. He runs the top producing Keller Williams team, the Florida Home Pros team. Keller Williams Innovations. Jimmy D, Jim DePola, how you be?
Hey, I'm doing good. Guys. We were talking about seller buyers everywhere in the last break, and we talked about how smooth everything went for Greg and Diane. They sold their home in Coral Springs, and they closed in their brand new home in Boynton Beach just this week. So congratulations, Greg and Diane. Bobby and Becky also just had a big move for themselves. They were downsized and they lived in Port St. Lucie, and they're still living in Port St. Lucie. They just moved to a different area of Port St. Lucie, but they sold a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home in Port St. Lucie. But unlike Diane and Greg, who sold their house in like 8 or 9 days, and everything was done in 37 days. I hate to even say this. They were on the market 209 days. Bobby,
without a contract, or
yeah, they were on the. Well, actually, there was a deal that went into contract and it fell apart twice with the same people. So they closed on their third contract with 2 different groups of people, and it was very, very tough. And part of the stuff that happened with Bobby and Becky was kind of interesting. So the first part was the market itself. So when we put the house on the market, we were definitely within the appraised value of the home, within, let's say, 3%, right? Which is what that's kind of my secret formula. You try to go about 3% of what you think it's worth, right?
Secret.
But what happened was the interest rates were going up at that point. This is last summer. And they were going up. And we had seen it the 18 months before going up and down like a yo-yo. So I'm like, oh, we're just in one of those cycles again. We'll pop out of it again. It's not a big deal. But what happened with them, they were getting a lot of showings, but no offers. A lot of showings, but no offers, right? I had 2 other problem properties at that time, and those properties weren't getting any showings at all. So it was kind of weird that Bobby and Becky were getting the showings during the slow time, but nobody was turning an offer. And they all kept saying the same thing. Nice house, but they didn't like the layout. Nice house, didn't like the layout. I've sold easily a dozen of those type of homes up in Port St. Lucie. The layout on this one, they were probably built when was Bobby and Becky's built? They were built in this house was built in, 1997. So
I was
this
thinking
is
late 90s.
Yeah, late 90s house. So you walk into the house, it has a 2-car garage, and you walk into the house. And when you walk in the house, you have a living room, and then you have a wall that is the back of the kitchen. And then around the living room is the dining room. Almost like, not exactly like yours, Jimmy, but you know how you have that wall between your old house, the wall between the living room and the kitchen?
Yeah.
If that was if it was longer, and people didn't like that because in the kitchen, they did have a small room on the side of the kitchen, which usually would be a family room, but it's kind of small. So you really don't want to put a couch and put a TV there and stuff. And it does have sliders that overlook the pool, but people just didn't like the layout of the whole living room. And I was over there several times because when the house wasn't selling, I was showing up to try to sell the house a couple of times. And people were sitting there trying to figure out how to break out the wall and move the house around, and it just wasn't going to work. So then because the interest rates, we had to start dropping the price. And we did finally get our buyer, and we got our buyer in February. And I vetted him, Mike, and here's the problem I had. I vetted this mortgage broker. I did not like him. I didn't trust him. I didn't feel like he really knew what he was doing. When I asked the questions, he was very rude. He didn't want to give me information. He was like, I'm the broker of this company. And, if I say it's going to close, it's going to close. I'm like, well, what exactly did you do to qualify for the loan? Exactly what's needed. What are you asking me questions for? But we had no other buyers at the time. and they really needed to move.
So against your better judgment,
I took it.
You accepted that offer.
Yeah. And the agent.
Then they strung you guys along for
a long time. And then we were supposed to close on March 3rd. Well, they told us that was a Monday. I'll never forget this. Okay. So the Friday before the Monday, we get the call. Sorry, we can't close today. We need an extension of 10 days, but we'll get the loan. Why can't you close? The transcripts are wrong. The IRS transcripts.
Remember that. Yeah.
The IRS transcripts did not match what they provided to the mortgage company. Mike, do you have any idea how that works? How
Sure.
could somebody turn in numbers that don't match what the IRS has?
So I can, hypothetically, I prepare a return.
Mm-hmm.
I hand you a copy of that. And then I go and I prepare a different return and send that to the IRS.
Wow. And so basically,
that's like the most, nefarious version of that story. Now, it could also be sometimes you'll file with the IRS and the IRS will make corrections. If there were errors on what you filled out, they'll make corrections and there you might have some discrepancies. It could be that you filed an amended return, but what I supplied to you was my original unamended return, right? So there's innocent ways and then there's nefarious ways. But yeah.
So with this, the realtor
which is why we do transcripts, guys. Like, why do we pull transcripts from the IRS?
This is the exact reason.
Because when we are using your tax returns to document your income, so that's people who are self-employed, that's the most common case, right? So whether you're 1099, Schedule C sole proprietor, or you file corporate returns, we essentially use your tax returns to calculate your income. How do we verify that what you've supplied to us is accurate? We bounce it off the IRS. IRS comes back and says, here's the version they supplied to us, right? Or here's the version that's on our records. Compare that with what they supplied. So obviously they should match up.
So the interesting thing is if it's nefarious, they're not very sophisticated because they're not going to get away with it at that rate.
Yeah. Right. And sometimes the IRS takes a little bit so if it's a freshly filed return, you're not going to get transcripts because the IRS hasn't processed it. Sometimes maybe you're trying to do something within that window of time.
What's the expectation for turnaround on that now from the IRS? Are they pretty good about getting you that quickly?
They will give us a result quickly, right? So it's either here's the transcript or there's a no record found. How long do they take to process returns? It really depends on the time of year. Right now is probably the longest amount of time. It's probably 5-6 weeks for the IRS to actually process your return and have it in the system. Now, a lot of people, but I got my refund in 10 days or something like that, or maybe the refund came quickly. They will issue refunds before they officially kind of finalize the processing and put it into their transcript or make it available for transcripts.
Well, that feels like putting the cart before the horse a little bit.
Yeah, but the IRS is if it's wrong, we'll let you know. Right. So there is some level of verification that the IRS is confirming the accuracy of your return against whatever records they have as far as W-2s supplied by employers or 1099 supplied by vendors. But they kind of take your word for it as far as refunds goes. And then if they need to adjust it, I don't know if anyone's ever got a letter from the IRS, but it says hey, we made some adjustments based on this and you owe us some money back, or we owe you a little more money. What do you want to do? Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. So in this case, their transcripts didn't match what they provided. The mortgage broker and the realtor didn't communicate with us at all. They had a transaction coordinator that was worse than the realtor. I didn't think that was even possible with this case. It was really, really bad.
Unless it's interference.
And we were jamming it through, right? We're trying to jam it through because Bobby and Becky have already got another house or another place that they're going to live under contract.
And they need to sell that home.
And that seller is depending on Bobby and Becky closing because they put down payment on a house they wanted to buy.
Yep.
Then on March 3rd, we couldn't close. Bobby and Becky's seller, the place they're going to buy, lost their place and $10,000 deposit. Right?
This is why the job that I do is so, to do it well is so important to the process, right? We don't, I guess the one thing is, I don't want to be in a contract that can't close, right? So I don't know if you haven't finished the story, whether actually we're able to get it through to the finish line, but the reason you do a pre-approval with somebody who knows what they're doing is so that when Jim and
So
I
you
have
don't
that
have
conversation,
these
I can make you feel very good that I've done what I really need to do, and we close on time, right?
And Mike isn't going to give you attitude when you call him up and say, "Hey, Mike, what did you do to qualify for loan?" He's going to be very helpful
What do
and
you
say,
think I
"Oh,
did?"
that's a great question. Let me tell you everything I did to qualify for the loan." Right? He's not going to give you attitude about it. So this
Let me.
realtor,
Are you ever going to work with this loan
No,
originator?
they're on my
If
blacklist.
he calls you out
No.
and is like,
If-
"Hey,
if-
Jim, let's do some business together."
I have a
Congrats.
list of realtors and mortgage companies and other people that I have not had good experiences with. And if I get an offer from a realtor that's like that, like I have one now that I just closed on Monday, she's on the list now. She's very productive. Okay. She's like top agent in the area, but she's so miserable to work with. And she almost killed the deal like 5 times for
She's
my
just like a
seller.
super shrewd
She's
negotiator.
a deal killer. No,
Yeah.
she's not shrewd. She's a
Not a
sledgehammer,
team player.
sledgehammer in a china shop, and think that's the way to do things.
Mm.
And my guy wasn't handling it. He told me be rough with her, right? Which I was because it deserved it.
So she's a bull wielding a sledgehammer
In a china shop,
Nice.
right? Not just a bull in a
Nice.
china shop, but she's wielding a sledgehammer too. So what ended up happening? I have her on the list. If I ever get another offer from her on another deal, and I'm the listing agent, I'm going to, of course, present the offer. I have an obligation to the seller, but I also feel like I'm going to tell that seller, "Hey, look, if you go into contract with this buyer, this is their agent. Let me tell you what happened the last time I worked with these people. Are you sure you want to take the offer?"
Right. Here's the expectation.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Just know we're going to go through hell and back, and you're going to be miserable through the whole process.
Yep.
Is it worth it?
Or at least
Right?
there's the potential of it happening.
I'm sorry.
Or at least there's the potential.
That's
Oh
right.
yeah,
Of it
there's the
happening.
potential.
Yeah,
Yeah,
highly
but with
likely.
this one, yeah. Anyway, so
Closer
getting
to a
back to this,
guarantee.
getting back to the seller buyer, that realtor was brand new. I kept explaining to him that we had a seller buyer situation. So he really needed to communicate better with us, and his transaction coordinator needed to keep. Transaction coordinator fired the realtor because she said he had bad communication skills. Her skills were bad, so you can imagine how bad it was for her to fire him.
Right.
I was like, oh my God, right? And then the mortgage broker, I found out later, was the uncle of the realtor.
Mm.
And the uncle didn't want to deal with the nephew anymore. Right? I was like, this whole thing is a freaking mess. So and on top of it, Mike, the loan approval was the Friday before we closed. They never told us, or the Thursday before we closed.
Before your original close date. I
Right.
remember that. So your
Right,
loan
March
approval
3rd.
period came and went.
And they didn't say anything. It was Thursday.
Yeah.
Thursday was the last day for the loan approval. What that means is buyers and as is contracts have a certain date that they have to tell the seller, we're good for the loan's done. And then that waives what's called the financing contingency. But if you do have a problem before that deadline, you're supposed to say, hey, we've got a problem here, Mr. Seller, and you got to give us some extra time or we're going to have to cancel the contract and get my money back. Well, their money was at risk because on Thursday, they never notified us. Friday, we get the call from the mortgage broker. Hey, we can't close on Monday. I'm like, my people are already have moving companies set up. They have a seller that's ready to buy another property on the closing Monday. And you're telling me on Friday that we're not closing? How long have you known this? About a week, 10 days, right? I go, you didn't think it was important? Well, we're going to close it. We're going to definitely close it. We just can't close it on that day. So we said, well,
Believe me, trust
your
me.
Your loan is hard now. I go, your loan is hard now because you don't have the waiver of the contingency for the financing, and there's nothing left because our title's clear. We're ready to close on Monday. So we're keeping the deposit whether you close or not. So they needed an extension. So in order to make sure that we didn't have a fight over the money, in order to sign the extension, we had them in the addendum say they're releasing the deposit right now. So what happened was they signed the addendum on Friday. The title company, Trident Title, released the money because the buyers agreed to release the money in order to extend the closing. So we extended it for 10 days.
Well, release the money.
They gave the money to the buyers, the sellers.
Really?
They took the money from the escrow account and gave it to the sellers because they agreed to. We had it in writing. They were instructed that's what they were going to do. Buyer's agent and mortgage company could care less. I felt so
because they're
bad for
highly
that buyer.
confident.
Yeah. So we're going to close on the 10th, which is the 13th, March 13th. Couldn't close. Kept the money. And then we had to put it back on market again.
Wow.
Oh, so that
Right.
deal died.
That deal died.
Oh, there's no happy ending for that buyer?
Nope. And then she found out the buyer's phone number, the seller's phone number, and called them for 2 weeks.
Trying to get the money.
Trying to get the money back. And she lied on her transcripts, right? So this lady created her own problem,
Jeez.
right?
Perhaps.
So then on top, well, I'm making an assumption there. Now, so what ended up happening was we put it back on the market, and thank God, as soon as we put it back on the market, a buyer came and said, we've been following this property. We wanted to put an offer the day it went under contract. We're ready to put an offer in right now.
Nice.
So then, like the next day or 2
They had
days
an
later,
agent?
we were back in contract at the same exact price that we were with the original buyer.
That's there's a story there. If they had an agent, so if you're a buyer out there and you kind of miss out on the house you've been looking for, it is okay
Get back
to
up.
keep monitoring. You can either try to get into a backup offer
Yeah.
status, which is like, hey, we're going to be your first, we get dibs,
First
right? We
position.
get dibs if it doesn't go.
Yep.
Or you just keep an eye on it, and you can reach out to that listing agent. How things going? Hey, you guys going to be closing? And you start to build that relationship agent to agent to say, hey, if it doesn't work out, we want in, right? Like, I got buyers, we're ready to roll. Keep us in mind. Like, and it's nice for you to have that backup when you're dealing with a loan originator or broker, whatever it is, who you're not getting the greatest feeling from. You can say, hey, listen, we've got something in the wings here. Just let us know. Like, can we?
You want to
move on with our life?
See you
please?
later. Don't let the door hit you in the butt. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's get this done or not.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And I always go for backup buyers, Mike. When I'm a listing agent, I always ask the sellers, can you continue to allow me to show the property till we get a backup buyer? You're not going to get as many showings after you're under contract anyway. So you're only going to get real serious people. And the other thing is that they just didn't care about the whole process. They could care less. The buyer's agent and realtor, I could not believe. And I called their broker multiple times. Here's another thing. I actually was so angry that I called the real estate company's brokerage, which is a pretty well-known brokerage. Nobody called me back. They gave me 3 people that are the brokers for the state. It's one of those brokerages where you have like 1 or 2 brokers for the whole state. Like in Keller Williams, every office has their own broker, right? So they're all controlling 200, 300 agents. But in this one company, they might have 30,000 agents in the state and they got 3 brokers.
Huh.
That's not good.
No.
Right? They never called me back. They could care less. They got this agent running around breaking all kinds of real estate rules. They have no idea, right? If they picked up the phone and called me, I would say, hey, look, I train agents too. Everybody makes mistakes. He's a young kid. But he got to straighten up because he's going to get your brokerage sued, right?
Yeah.
But for malfeasance, but it didn't work out. So what ended up happening is we found the new buyer. We had to close a little later than we wanted to. That's why we closed we closed what was yesterday, Friday. We closed Friday. But I got to tell you, one of the things that was really nice about that, because Becky and Bobby lost a really important family member during all this stuff when it was going bad. And then Becky had a medical issue that she had to deal with. I mean, they were just going through hell and back, right? They had to cancel the moving company 3 times in order to make this work.
Gosh.
But at the end of the day, when we closed yesterday, Becky came over to me and she gave me a really big hug, and it made me tear up because I was like, you're not mad? She goes, Jim, none of this was your fault. Thank you for walking us through the whole thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that made me feel so good because I felt so bad for them. They are the sweetest people in the world. And for them to be drugged through the mud like that, that was really, really tough.
That's right.
No, and like your gut tells you that that first conversation with that loan originator was like the warning signs were there. But, you didn't have other offers. And so it's like, okay, I'm got to take somebody at their word when they're telling me.
We were on the market a very long time.
Yeah.
And we had to get it done. But we got it done. They were very happy. They were so happy to move in a new place yesterday.
And hopefully
happy,
that is going to be amazing for them for a long time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and take a break. And on the flip side, what we're going to talk about?
What?
Fort Pierce looks like it's growing up. It's going to be maybe a major player in this area. I know that Johnny's looking at me.
No, I love Fort Pierce.
Oh,
they got
no,
a federal courthaus there.
Yeah, aren't they already
Yeah,
a
you're
major
right.
player?
Yeah.
I mean, they have a federal courthouse there.
Yeah.
How could it not
I've
be
got
TikTok?
a bookmark for their county website. So right.
So yeah, so that means they're really on the map. They're on Mike's bookmark list. They've made it. It's kind of like getting your name in the phone book.
It's St. Lucie County.
Instant publicity.
They got Archie's.
Steve
Come
Martin. But anyway, yeah, we're going to talk about Fort Pierce and how it's a city that might be growing up pretty fast right now. I'm going to talk about 2 big projects that are happening out there. That's interesting. Then right after that, we're going to roll into what we got to roll into. What's happened with the real estate market and mortgage rates and everything over the last week.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about topsy-turvy. Like I said, I should be walking in with a neck brace right now.
We got a lot to get into with an hour remaining. Thanks for being with us every Saturday. 2 hours of infotainment is what we offer up. And of course, if you are looking to buy a home, sell a home, you're stuck with a home, you're not quite sure what to do, if you need a professional in the world of real estate to handle anything, because I got a pro to take care of anything that touches the world of real estate. Go remember FloridaTalkRealEstate.com on Facebook and YouTube as well. Soak it up. But when you need a pro's pro, FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. You'll see the hotline, 888-973-7828. Call it if you like. If you're old school, you like to pick up the phone, it's actually going to be answered by a live body. Get your information. We'll get you contacted to the pro that you need. The one to start with, we'll pass you through. That sounds a little weird, but we got pros to handle you at every step of your transaction, whatever you're trying to get done. I'm telling you, experience it for yourself. Know it, use it, love it, share it. You can change lives, including your very own, with the pros at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. We're going to be back in 4 minutes. Hopefully you're there with us in 4 minutes because we got another hour remaining for you on this Saturday. 4-minute break. We're back at it. Florida Talk Real Estate right here, Real Radio.
Be like the smart kids, like the summa cum laude of your workplace.
What?
Tell your smart device to play Real Radio 92.1 on iHeartRadio. Here's what's happening with the weather on Real Radio.
CBS 12 meteorologist Charlotte Carl, those temperatures will continue to rise, but we will only get into the lower 80s, which is a little bit cooler than yesterday. For your afternoon highs, thanks to a cold front that will be moving through the area. Overnight, we'll see temperatures drop into the mid-80s, and tomorrow afternoon, the big rinse of the forecast, beautiful blue skies expected all weekend.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rauch from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rauch will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rauch, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Camaronets, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
From the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios.
Have you been in an accident? Call Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys at 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Real Radio 92.1 is WZZR West Palm Beach, an iHeartRadio station.
Make us the #1 preset on your car radio and on the free new and improved iHeartRadio app. Listen for all your music, radio, and podcasts. Free never sounded so good. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
There it is, 877-927-6969. Toll free into the studio here on the beautiful Saturday in South Florida. If you got questions, comments, concerns on the world of real estate, you want to be a part of the conversation at hand, don't be shy. Dial it up. Timothy will line you up there. It's our producer extraordinaire. How are you, my dude?
Doing mighty fine. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Johnny C., that's me. Mike Rouse here. He's the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. Mike.
Yes. Good morning. Guten Morgen.
You have a nice Passover evening tonight? You started Passover this evening.
I didn't know that.
Well, I think it starts at sundown. Am I wrong?
Does anybody know?
Not. I believe so.
Okay.
For all my Jewish friends out there, have a nice Passover. It's a celebratory time.
I don't know much about it, honestly.
I was inquiring,
but it's in and around. It's Easter weekend next weekend,
right? I think it's a
Ash Wednesday is happening at some point. Wednesday, probably.
I think it's a celebration. You celebrate with your friends and family. It's like a week-long thing, if I'm not mistaken. Jewish, I am not.
Okay.
I believe it's recognition of the exodus of Egypt for you history buffs.
Okay. Exiting Egypt.
Exodus, yes.
From slavery.
Mm-hmm.
Persecution.
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's very celebratory in that nature. And if I'm wrong, correct me, please.
Yeah, somebody, please.
Please.
I can't.
It would have been more fun if you made something up and then said, if I'm wrong, call me and tell me.
Just offend everybody.
Yeah,
if I'm wrong,
hey, if we're wrong, give me a call. Let me know.
And I very well could be wrong still.
Does
when they said
I quit this bitch,
and they went up.
One thing I did look up recently was Easter is one of those that you just have to check every year what day it's going to fall on.
420 this year, baby,
and it has to do with it's like the first weekend, the first Sunday following the first full moon after the some equinox or maybe the solstice or whatever it is, right? So the first full moon after the what's happens on March 21st? Like spring, is that the summer solstice, winter? Or what is it?
Spring, right?
There's something.
March.
Yeah, March 21st.
Right.
My birthday.
Right.
Is the first day of spring.
Right.
And then the first full moon following whatever that
which is today,
astrological event is
today.
And then the Sunday following the first full moon. So that's when you do Easter.
So is next Sunday Easter?
Yeah, so I guess
the full moon.
Maybe Passover kind of follows the same rules. And I was thinking to myself, all of these things are based on
the equinox, by the way.
The equinox and the full moon. And I'm like, what's the origin of that as far as being a special event? Right?
The connection.
Yeah. I guess pagan, pagan
Probably.
history,
Yeah,
something like that.
Strangely, like the Christmas tree.
So I wonder, I guess Passover must also be on a similar kind of, which day is it this year?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. But yeah, Easter's 420 this year.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? What's 420?
So that isn't
it's
the
April
week.
20th.
That isn't the first Sunday after the full moon, because the full moon is today. So that means if the 20th isn't next Saturday, right? Is
Next
it?
Sunday.
Oh yeah, it is next Sunday. I forgot today's.
Well,
15th.
tomorrow would be the first
today is
Sunday.
the 11th. I
Today's-
thought today was the 11th.
12th.
Okay.
Yep.
Hey,
There's Jim DePola. He's
Oh,
Jimmy
sorry about
D.
that.
I like to
Sorry.
call him Jimmy D. He runs our fearless leader for 13 plus years now. I've told you he runs a top producing Keller Williams team, the Florida Home Pros team.
We got Kelly on hold. She's apparently an expert on a Passover.
Oh, really?
Kelly, what's going on?
I'm not an expert. I'm just a very good Catholic who has many Jewish friends and kind of knows the Bible a little bit. Anyway, good morning, guys. How are you, Johnny C? Good to see you back.
Good morning,
So I
and thank
believe
you.
that there was the 7 plagues. It's the Old Testament. There was the 7 plagues, and the last plague was Passover, where you have to save your firstborn son. So the angel of death would pass over, and then that's when they exodus, and after the 7 plagues. And so that's what Passover is for them, the 7 days where the angel of death passed over and did not take their firstborn son. It also coincides with Easter. There's also different calendars. You also have the Grecian calendar. You have the Estonia calendar. There's like the Greek Easter isn't until like 3 months from now. So
yeah, the Greeks are always
it's a whole
quirky.
thing. Yeah, but I believe, and I think I'm correct, that Passover was after the Exodus. You're correct, Johnny. The Exodus was the Exodus after the 7 plagues, and the last plague was the taking of their firstborn son. So they had to mark the door. The angel of death moved. And then I think they traveled around the desert for 40 years and 40 nights. I don't know. The thing.
Huh. I think that sounds
With
right.
the 40 days, that's not the flood?
40 years. It's 40.
40 years.
Yeah, 40 years.
In the Bible, it says, quote unquote, years. But so
I should have paid more attention.
Yeah. Are you more Old or New Testament? I like the Old Testament. I prefer a vengeful God.
I mean, the Jewish culture and the Catholic culture, our Old Testament is the same. It's just their Torah. The Catholics have the Old Testament. The Hebrews and the Jews have their Torah, and it's the exact same thing. So we agree on everything up until Jesus Christ, and that's a whole other thing. But that's what Easter is about. So again, everybody recreates different icons of cultures, and I have a non-atheist friend that every Easter or Good Friday, he texts me and says, "Hey, we got him." And every Easter Sunday,
he knows who Wardy is. I promise you.
It's not religion, just kind of cross cultures, and I don't know. It's kind of a great topic, but I do have a real estate question.
Please.
We were talking about chickens last week. You weren't here, Johnny. Like, I want chickens now. Do you have to, if you wanted to build, you're buying a property and it's wherever it is, but do you have to get a permit to get zoned, or is that something you have to make sure you have before you can buy the property? Like, if you buy a property, can you pull a permit to build a chicken coop?
Jim?
It depends on, hey, Kelly, it depends on,
where
you're zoned. Okay. So if you don't have an agricultural zoning, you may not be able, depending on every city in the county rules, or could be different, as to whether or not you could like have chickens in your backyard or not. Right.
Sure.
Some of them you can't have chickens in a condo, I don't assume. Right. I'm just making up an example, right?
Yeah.
Well, even when we were talking about it, so I took a quick look, in Port St. Lucie, right? So in the city of Port St. Lucie, it's not permissible, but in unincorporated, it is. So, which is, governed by the county, basically.
Right.
So there you can. So I think that's what you would probably have to find out first, Kelly, is whether or not the property that you're in permits it or not. If it doesn't, maybe there's an appeal process where you could apply.
You can go for what's called a variance,
or
right.
something.
I don't think there's anywhere where you need to apply or get a permit to build a chicken coop, right? But if you want to have chickens in it, that's where you got to have right. Like you can build.
Well, is it a chicken coop until you put the chickens in it?
Yeah, it's just a coop. Yeah,
that's right.
Or it's just a storage shed.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
It's
Kelly,
just a big dog house.
yeah,
Big
but
dog house.
yeah, so you would have to check. Your agent when you were going looking would have to make sure that where you were going if you wanted the chickens to.
Yeah, I think
go
it's
through.
probably a good idea if you intend on raising chickens to check if that's allowed. Maybe listen in the neighborhood for certain noises.
So it's more like if you're in an HOA, then you have to ask them permission to build a coop.
Oh yeah,
Like,
without a
that's
doubt,
kind
an
of what
HOA,
I really went down.
absolutely.
So like you have to, there's permits you have to pull if you want to like put a shed in the back or you want to build a extra thing on your deck.
HOA is an extra level on top of whatever the city has.
HOA.
Yeah, so that's
totally
extra on top of whatever the city or the governing agency is.
And if there's
Because you're basically, when you move into an HOA, you're agreeing to live within the rules of that HOA.
If there's an HOA out there that permits chicken coops, I'd be shocked.
Yeah.
You can always get on the board of the HOA to change things.
Yeah.
True.
Well,
participate. That's right. Kelly, thank you for the information. Thanks for always being out
thanks for
there.
calling.
And I hope you have a great weekend. Thank you very much for
Little
the support.
minutia to brighten your Saturday morning, right?
Appreciate you very much. Always nice to get a little closure to our our wonderings. Have a great weekend. Thanks for the phone call. 877-927-6969. You're more than welcome to join the program as well.
So I might be a little behind the times on this, but like 2 years ago, maybe even last year a little bit, I've been talking about how Fort Pierce has a couple of projects that they've been messing around with for a very long time that look like if those things go, it could really start attracting a lot of people to that city. Fort Pierce to me is a very overlooked city because it is a waterfront city. Johnny, you know this better than anybody because your mom and grandma lived over on the intercoastal over there for so long
time. Yep.
And it's awesome. The water over there is awesome. The fishing is awesome. The boating's awesome.
Love Fort Pierce.
Right. But a lot of people think it's has higher crime and that the median income is lower.
So
and
there's pockets of everywhere where
Yeah.
it's not great. You can pick a city. We can find a spot. It's not
Yeah,
great.
but there's a lot more. When I drive
it was
around
known
Fort
for
Pierce, those areas are bigger,
Well,
take up a bigger chunk
called,
of the
It
city.
was called Port Fierce for a reason, but it's, I mean,
But I'm
tell you,
a fan.
I've been there recently enough to say that they have really done a nice job.
They really,
clean. I don't want to say cleaning up because that kind of gives a bad connotation to it, but it just really the downtown area is so much nicer now.
They painted it, it's nice.
and it looks nice, and they have plenty of parking, and they got plenty of restaurants there now, and they're just adding more and more to it. That it is, I can see why it's starting to attract people. Are they building a new North Causeway Bridge or something too, I believe, as well? So
I don't know about
I
that.
think they're in the middle of that, and then there was a project that you're going to bring up now because I remember you talking about this at one time to attract more people in there. But they've also kind of limited how much building can be done too. So I think they're going to try to keep the congestion down, which is something maybe Port St. Lucie should look at.
Yeah, really, really. So with Fort Pierce, they have two projects going on right now that are very exciting. One is over by the water, and the other one's over by 95 in the Turnpike at Midway Road, right? So we have two big projects on each end of the city, if you will, east and west, that could really help transform the city. Speaking of the first one, it's the property called King's Landing. And they finally actually broke ground. They're building a waterfront community, right, a modern waterfront community right in downtown Fort Pierce, which I think is really awesome because there's I love Fort Pierce architecture. I have to say that if you like the really older homes, 1920s, 1930s homes, there's so many out there, and the architecture is so nice. It's beautiful, but it's a lot of work to turn those properties around to make, to keep them. So we're going to lose a lot of properties, I'm sure, in Fort Pierce over time, and they're just going to rebuild
some of those more historic looking homes.
But the King's Landing site over in downtown, in the east side of Fort Pierce, they've been messing around with this for 6 years, trying to get this thing to break ground, and they finally broke ground on it. So it's going to be a waterfront community out there. The article I read about it doesn't really have a lot of details of what the waterfront community is going to be.
So it's Riverside, yes?
But it's Riverside, yes.
Okay. It's not out on the island. It's not on.
No, it's not on the island. And the other thing is that they also are building in a Marriott boutique hotel in downtown Fort Pierce right now, which is another sign. If Marriott's moving in, they're assuming that things are going to be changing down there. Oh. And the way I found out about that is I know one of the longtime bar owners in that area by where the Marriott Bonvoy is being built. He's a big fan of the show, and he's in our database. So I call him once in a while and ask him what's going on over there. And he said big things are happening. I talked to him about 8 months ago.
How are the beaches there, Johnny? Beautiful? Nice?
Okay.
They're okay?
Not the best. Yeah, but it's, it's beach. It's just not, it's not like ideal sand situations typically.
Like not enough sand?
Oftentimes, yeah, but you can pick a lot of beaches where that's the case. But
sure.
yeah, and it's just,
gritty sand.
Gritty. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's not like
okay.
sugar sand. The second thing is I didn't know the name of what they call this, and I'm a little behind because there's a whole website on this if you want to check it out. Koa Bay. Koa Bay is a $595 million project, $500 million project they're putting in at Midway Road in Fort Pierce. This is going to be a surf park where you can live, eat, and play there. So you could vacation, live, eat, and play, all within this 204-acre park that they're building right in the middle of the state. It's pretty crazy. And the biggest feature of this is going to be the surf park, where they could put 80 surfers at one time surfing in this wave pool.
Is this backed by Kelly Slater, perchance?
It's Unit Surf, Kelly Slater.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
I've heard about this project for years.
Yeah, for years and years, right?
The water park I've been hearing about for a long time. I didn't realize there was going to be that much residential though with it.
Yes, they're going to put in condotels, they're going to put in townhomes, they're going to have 2 hotels there, not just one, and then they're going to have all retail and dining.
Well, explains the Marriott downtown, because when you said that, I was like, well, what's gonna bring in more tourism to Fort Pierce?
Right.
Well, there it is. There's
right?
the expectation. It's going to be this surf park.
Surfing in the middle of Florida. That's how they're going to do it. You know what I mean?
If it comes together the way it's anticipated, that's going to be it'll be another real destination point in Florida.
I think so too. I don't think it's going to be Disney World, but it'll probably be Weeki-Waki Springs or Marineland.
It's more niche.
More
like
that.
You got to be a surfer.
Yeah.
But there's a lot in the world.
Yeah. I'm reading some of the highlights. Right. It's 1,104 residences, 2 hotels with 272 rooms, and then 410,000 square feet of retail and office space. So you got to bring in people to work there, right? Like it's to service the residents. So yeah, it seems like a pretty
and the
pretty
retail
cool thing.
The retail space hopefully fills up. Yeah. Hopefully there's good demand. That'd be it.
And you mentioned the word condo hotel, Jim, or condo hotel. So that makes my ears perk up, because it's very difficult to get financing. You cannot get traditional financings to buy in a condo hotel. Maybe explain what a condo hotel is, Jim, or you want me to?
So the only time I've ever dealt with condo hotel is that one place in Palm Beach. You know what I'm talking about?
Imagine like a condo, but certain segment of it is, has hotel services. So basically overnight stays, right? So you own your condo, but half the building serves as a hotel.
Oh, well, that's
so you have permanent residents and transient residents.
There's this one place in Palm Beach I know a lot of people have bought and sold over the years, and it used to be it is a full-time hotel, but you can buy the rooms, and people buy the rooms, and then they go back to the hotel and say, you service it for me. And they turn it into an Airbnb.
Yeah.
And you can either live there and live in the hotel, right? Live in the hotel room. It's just like living in a hotel, right? You have all the services a hotel has and everything.
Right.
But you're living in a room, right? I mean, it's just a hotel room. It's not a suite or even an efficiency or anything like that.
But you can definitely buy them with financing.
Yeah.
You just need special type of financing. So
Yes.
it exists, which I do.
And the other thing that might be smart about this, because if this project actually goes the way it's going, all around there's a ability to probably do Airbnbs around there because people are going to want that, right? So anyway, this is a really great project. So these two projects that actually broke ground right now, to me, is leaps and bounds farther ahead than where Port St. Lucie is with their redevelopment plans. Because how many times has Port St. Lucie tried to do things and failed? Right, it just failed over and over and over again.
It's too big. It's too spread out.
Yeah,
That-
and
that's the
it was
problem
just
with
very
PSL.
poorly developed
Yeah.
when they mapped out the city when they started.
Oh.
They had this grandiose plan
No,
with
no infrastructure.
with no infrastructure, and they started building Port St. Lucie during a crash. We were going through a real estate crisis when that was happening. Now, this is not the last crash, but a long time ago. My dad worked for the company that built a large part of that area up there, and he worked for the commercial division, which was legitimate. But when the economy got bad, they were trying to get draws from their banks. The developers were putting in fake infrastructure, like for houses they weren't planning on building. They like pave the road or put in electric and water just to get draws, to keep everything going. And they were robbing people to pay Paul. And there's a lot of development problems that have happened in Port St. Lucie. You hear a lot about flooding up there.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
it's terrible.
the flooding when it rains.
Drainage is horrible.
Yeah, and I like Port St. Lucie, so you know, I like it overall. I know you lived there for a long time, Johnny.
I liked it too.
I don't mind Port St. Lucie, and it's affordable, and it's a great place to live on a lot of levels. But there's a lot of the politicians are really lacking up there. They really, and I'm not just talking about whoever's there now, so don't be insulted. I'm talking about over 30, 40 years. The politicians there have never been able during the booms and busts to figure out a system to get their area building. The biggest problem with St. Lucie County is the median income is low because there aren't a lot of jobs that you can go there. Everybody's commuting to other places to get to get better paying jobs. So Fort Pierce, this is so funny. I always thought Fort Pierce was actually like one grade lower, if you will, than Port St. Lucie as far as operation. But now it looks like they're turning everything around.
Well, they have the downtown, which helps. They're going to create this new water park you're talking about. Now that is way out west.
It's way out west, right?
There's a significant distance between these two areas, but not to mention, but it's not that far away.
What's way out west? Is it like West Palm to Loxahatchee? Or is it further?
Probably 10 miles.
Yeah, about that. But it's it's the congestion
like
getting
the
there,
12 miles.
Yeah.
And whatnot. And there's not a lot in between, from there. But they probably will build, other attractions as well. Not to mention, I mean, I know it's not a big thing, but for some people it is. They got the Buc-ee's going in.
Buc-ee's is going in now. I just read that.
Indrio Road, which is I think 2 exits up from Midway.
That's a whole city on its own, right?
I've never. Every time I go past a Buc-ee, everyone's like, "You gonna go to Buc-ee's?" I'm like, "No, I'm not going to Buc-ee's." Ever driven past a Buc-ee's? There's a million people at Buc-ee's. Why do I want to go to Buc-ee's?
To me, Buc-ee's, I went there a couple of times. Nothing that's special
hold on,
about
Jim,
it.
Be careful. There's a lot of fans.
I know.
I was going to say easy.
There's a lot of fans of Wawa too. It's a gas station. Settle down.
Yeah, exactly.
Listen,
settle the hell down.
My stepson Alex, he came home from a road trip with his buddies, and they stopped at Buc-ee's, and he brought back Buc-ee's fudge. It was a variety of Buc-ee's sourced fudge.
Was it good? Is it like better than Hoffman's?
No.
Hoffman's shut
Was it
down.
Really?
Lake Worth Road? It's not there
I guess
anymore.
Buc-ee's was better.
Now it's better.
Yeah.
I think
was
they're
bummed
surviving
out.
off of their fudge profits somehow.
Well,
But I'm
the,
like, you went to a gas station and brought fudge.
what else are you supposed to get?
Interesting.
The Buc-ee nuts, or what do they got?
I don't know.
I don't know if he said it. I was answering the phone, but their pulled pork or something, isn't it? There's
A sandwich that they have there?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
All right.
I always loved their
Supposed to be
sushi.
famous for.
Best sushi around.
Brisket. They're brisket.
They're
That's it.
brisket.
They're supposed to be.
No.
Well, I think this surf park overall is going to be a
Should be a
great
good
idea, a great attraction to bring people to that whole area. I think it's really good potential there. And they've worked so hard. The county has worked so hard to make this happen. They had this surf park in like 4 different places over time. They wanted to put it in a county park. Then they were going to do it privately. Then they brought it back to the county again.
And wasn't it
was
even
all over.
originally like more closer to Palm Beach County? I think the original plan was a little further south.
Oh, yeah. It was a
Considerably further
completely
south.
different area
Yeah.
than where it is now. But they've been talking about this for years out there. And I've always said, hey, did they ever break ground? And then I saw the little article on Channel 12, which is Channel 12 News, where I saw it. So if you want to check it out, the headline in the Channel 12 News is Surf's Up, Fort Pierce, $600 million surf park community underway.
Huh.
So go ahead and check that out.
Super cool.
Let me see here.
877-927-6969. Toll free to be a part of the show. Of course, if you're not comfortable on the radio, remember, Florida Talk Real Estate is a .com, your one-stop real estate shop. You got access to all the team, the pros at floridatalkrealestate.com. Know it, use it, love it, share it.
Not far from there too, they're putting that big Cabo Rio RV park in as well, for the big motorhomes and whatnot. But it's like its own little city, from what I understand that they're building there.
Cool.
I know they have some of the sites, and a couple of the buildings are done now. I have friends of mine that they have an RV and they bought one. So that's going in that area as well. So,
sounds like
right around there, really
a destination.
Yeah,
Right?
so Central Florida,
Cool.
This middle of the state right now is some things are happening there. A couple other things. I just want to talk about West Palm. There was an article in Newsweek that said over the last 10 years that we've seen 112% increase in millionaires living in the city of West Palm Beach. That's not surprising because we've seen that gentrify pretty amazingly. So we saw a trend right after COVID or during COVID where a lot of the Palm Beachers were selling their houses for a huge amount of money. And then they were moving across the intercoastal to the the west side of the intercoastal, and buying the homes on the intercoastal side facing Palm Beach, right? And
Riverside, Johnny would call it.
Riverside, yeah. And they were doing that, and they were buying homes that were selling for $800,000 5 years ago, and they were paying $2-3 million just to tear the building down and putting up $14 to $21 million waterfront homes looking at Palm Beach now, right? So we've seen all that happening. That was in one of the neighborhoods that's happening a lot in is Soso, south of Southern. That's going on over there.
Yeah.
And so supposedly the city is now home to 11,500 millionaires in just West Palm alone. 78 of those residents are worth 100 million or more. And there are 10 billionaires, right, in West Palm right now.
Is this before or after
this is from
the stock market last week?
yeah. Maybe they only half a billionaires
Apparently
now,
there's
right?
some shifts.
Yeah. So
Little adjustments.
But we weren't the highest
Said
increase
10
though.
billionaires. I read
10
just
billionaires.
like a month ago there were 50 billionaires on the island alone.
Yeah, I don't know.
Huh.
Maybe it was.
Well,
the stock
it's funny. Palm Beach has 68 billionaires.
Oh, so we're not calling that
West
Palm Beach
Palm.
County.
No,
Oh,
we're
going
talking West Palm, the
So
city
it's
of
the
West
number
Palm.
68 billion. They said I read 50 billionaires on the island. There's 68.
That's what this is
Okay.
what it says. Palm Beach has 68 billionaires living there, according to the Palm Beach Daily News and Forbes list, of
billion is
wealthiest
stupid money.
people in 2025.
It's a lot.
Oh my gosh, it is so much money.
So, this to me is just more proof that Florida is changing more and more. And I was talking to a guy yesterday. I have a property, newer construction home up in Fort Pierce, 4-bedroom, 2-bath home, great opportunity, 2,000 square feet. Got on the market for $389,000. So they called up. A developer called me up and said, "Hey, we might be interested in buying that property, but he's also looking for land and stuff because he uses this state program that gives him huge incentives to build income tract housing, like low income housing.
Mm-hmm.
But you only can do it in the middle of the state, not close to the coast. It's like they have an area where they want you to use that money. And to me, it's so clear what's happening right now. Yeah, we have to have the lower income or a lower priced affordable housing so we can have the workers to support the millionaires on the coast, and they're planning on putting them all in the central part of the state. right? And they're going to be commuting either by Brightline or other kind of trams or their car, and they're going to be commuting, 30, 40 miles to serve the Millionaires. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be Cape Cod, Martha's Vineyard. That's what we're turning into.
Yeah, so I guess as you get more demand for higher end real estate, what do? You have to build it. Where do you build it? You got to make space for it.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's new though, Jim. I mean, hasn't Palm Beach Island been a destination of the wealthy for
yes,
decades,
but not to
like a century, maybe
not
Now
to
it's
the
stretching
extent
a little more west.
just Palm Beach. But now look how many
Yeah,
billionaires
intercoastal,
are in
sure.
West Palm, right?
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. You have some of the wealthiest people in the world, like Jeff Green, who's all about West Palm right now, right? I mean, he's been all about West Palm for 10 years. He's building all these projects, right? And he's the one that was dealing with that whole school brouhaha about UF versus, I think, Vanderbilt. I don't know if you remember, but downtown in West Palm, there was supposed to be this big new satellite campus for UF. I was kind of excited about that. And the whole thing fell apart. Jeff Green was involved in it, and now he brought in Vanderbilt or somebody instead of UF. I was kind of bummed out about that. I'd rather have UF there.
Top-notch university, though.
Yeah, you're right. And
Both
he
are,
brought
I
it.
mean,
Yeah,
truly.
both are really top notch. So, but anyway, we're seeing that millionaire thing, Mike, not spilling over from the island is what I'm saying. And the more it happens, the more that middle class and lower middle class are going to be pushed more into the center of the state, less and less closer to the beach.
Hey, we'll give you good money for your house. And then you're like, but where am I going to go? Or where's affordable?
Yeah.
Go north, go west.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to be seeing that, but West Palm is growing leaps and bounds with millionaires. It's also actually seeing less people. West Palm was one of the cities that actually had a decline in the amount of people living there.
What?
People forget this. People don't know that there is many people leaving Florida as coming in. What's happening, though, is the people coming in are much wealthier than the people that are leaving. That's why I'm saying we're seeing this trend. And this isn't a trend that's going to happen overnight. This is decade or more than a decade I'm talking about. It isn't like a light switch and it's going to happen, but we're seeing it in real life, what's happening.
Right, it's playing out.
Yeah, so it's really happening. So just more changes happening. I find it to be kind of interesting. Just want to do something before we get into the market, Mike, which I want to talk to you about. I just want to do very quick wrap up. Governor DeSantis held a press conference earlier this week in Miami where he said he told the state legislators, you got to fix this condo crisis. I watched his half-hour interview for the press conference. It was kind of interesting because what he said was after Surfside collapsed? Yeah. Is the Surfside? I always get the names wrong. When Surfside collapsed, he felt that the legislators went too hyperactive about the rules and regulations that must be changed right away, and that there would be blowback from those decisions. And he says the blowback is a lot of elderly people right now are freaked out that they're not able to live in their condo for the rest of their life like their plan was because of the fees to make up for the concrete restoration that needs to be done to their building, the deferred maintenance issues, plus the amount of reserves they're supposed to be holding in there. It's just too much. So DeSantis is like, look, these rules and regulations are important, but you can't be kicking grandma out of her house because she can't afford a $100,000 bill that's slapped on her desk and saying, you got to pay this right now, grandma, right? So they're saying you got to go back and fix this and find out some kind of middle ground. They're also trying to create some state financing to help the lowest at risk financially people that could be losing their homes. And he's trying to create a plan for that. So maybe there's some relief on the horizon that some of these major like bills that are being demanded to be paid right now, they don't need to be paid right now, that they could be paid over time.
I think there's only one way that works, right? So you have
state
contractors who are doing work who need to get paid for it, right? Those payments come from the associations. The associations are funded from the homeowners. Where else could the money come from?
Well, they might
you can't take- you
they
can't
might
take-
take special financing
Yeah.
might happen, like special bond financing or something, where the state is backing it.
Yep.
Exactly.
And
That's what's
maybe
gonna
the
happen.
condo, and I
Exactly.
would
Yep.
assume that the condo note for the whole community is being held in escrow, basically, or as
Interesting.
not escrow, but what
It's
is
security,
it called?
right?
Security.
Security
Like
for
that's
the-
the
for the-
security is like, hey, you got to put the condo up, the whole association up for us to give you that bond.
Florida's just going to start its own, basically, like
Bank?
FHA. Yeah,
Oh.
exactly.
Oh my God, that would be so scary if we go
Well,
through
that's
that.
the only way they're going to be able to do it.
I know something's got to give.
I
You
think
know what
something
they have
has
to
to
do?
happen. I agree, but it's kind of on taxpayers. Essentially, is my
It's going to fall on
Yeah.
the irresponsibility of the management of these condo associations is going to fall on the taxpayers. Here's what they need to do if they're going to do that. They have to make it criminal to mismanage these things.
Yes.
That there are repercussions to you not managing these appropriately, because all these homeowners for all these years that are freaking out right now are the reason that they're in this position, because they always made
Kick the
sure
can.
they kick the can.
Yeah.
Let's not pay for this right now. Nobody wants their HOA to go up, but you have to manage this. You have to maintain it.
I think there is a crisis because you do have people, on fixed income who don't have mortgages. Basically, their only housing expenses related to their HOA or condo dues and their, utilities. And those condo dues, like in a matter of 2 years, Johnny, have tripled, right? Like I've seen cases, it goes from 300 to 900 or worse.
Regular homeowners have gone through it too. Our insurance is like basically
insurance. So basically it's kind of like all happened at once, right? So kick the can down the road on long-term, like their reserve budget, long-term capital expenditures. They basically just kind of said, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it. Now they're being forced. And it's not even new law. Like they're being forced to comply with existing
that they were
rules,
supposed
right?
to do it originally, right?
Right. They also had these big projects, that related to the structural integrity of the building. It's like pretty important. Can't kick the can down anymore on that. Insurance. Guess what? Wait a second. There's a risk of buildings collapsing. These high-rise buildings can collapse. Insurers are like, okay, well, we need to, cover our butts a little bit. Premiums go up. So they got it's like a trifecta.
Totally.
And if you're somebody whose income is fixed every single month and your expenses up until this point were more or less fixed, and then all of a sudden you have this huge new expense, it's just, what do they do? They can't do anything.
That was Governor DeSantis's comment in the press conference.
Yeah.
He goes, I know a lot of people, because he was trying to do blowback from people saying that we shouldn't give breaks to certain people. He goes, I know a lot of people are saying, well, these people have owned their condo 20, 30 years and they own it outright. So why don't they just sell the condo? This is what he said on the press conference. So why don't they just sell the condo and then go buy something else?
There's some affordable housing.
Right.
If you go
and
west.
That's what he was saying. He's like, that doesn't work in the real world. So they sell it and then they got to pay today's prices for the new place and they can't afford it. So he goes, so we have to do something for these people. So it'll be interesting to see what, if anything, they can do. But, at least,
Some sort
the
of
people that are
bailout
freaking
is
out, at least you could see that
bailout.
At least they're talking about it.
Yeah.
And at least this bailout is for the people.
Sure.
I mean, there's a part of me that absolutely says that's amazing. I just wish it was more blanket, because there's plenty of grandmas that have been on their fixed income that own their home outright, that when their insurance popped by 40%, they now struggle to make their monthly nut. The same thing. And by the way, you can throw state caps on insurance. I mean, you can do things. I know we have Citizens, which helps, but the shift of the focus is interesting, because the insurance crisis has been real for years,
and it's not going to get better.
Ignored. I mean, it
right,
really
and
has.
it's not going to get better.
Litigation's going to fix it. Well, it's fixing it a little bit, but it's not going to. It's not going to be dramatically better. We're never going to get back to what it was 5 years ago.
So, I want to wrap up. We only got like 15 minutes left, and it's really important we talk about this, because we do try to keep, abreast of what's going on in the news. And this was pretty big stuff this week. I mean, it was very topsy-turvy, the market. So I don't want to get into the stock market necessarily, Mike, but I want to talk about the mortgage situation. So if you go to Freddie Mac, the good news is, right, you know, a lot of people are upset right now. You know, they're very nervous about what's going to happen in the future. I understand it. I'm nervous too. But right now, at this moment, we don't have the indicators yet that as everybody is doom as gloom as they are, it isn't here yet. It might be coming. I'm not saying it isn't coming. It might be the shadow coming over us right now. But the jobs report was very strong, very, very strong. Our inflation rate was surprisingly good. I read that report. That report was better than almost all the reports that we had for the last like 2 years, 2.5 years. That was a very strong, nice inflation report for us, meaning the inflation wasn't spiking too much. Whether or not that was like as good as it's going to get, and it gets way worse from this point forward, we don't know because things are happening so fast. The stats can't even keep up with all the changes we're doing right now. But here's another thing. Freddie Mac came out with their weekly report with all that chaos.
The dollar's getting hit a little bit.
Oh, we'll get there. We'll get there. But I'm just saying there are some bright spots of what it isn't like all doom and gloom by any means. There's some very big bright spots. And Freddie Mac, over this crazy week we had, the interest rate went from 6.64 to 6.62. So it went down a little bit. But the last 2 days, Mike, all I've been reading about in the news is how the mortgage rates are spiking like crazy. That's what I was hearing.
Mm-hmm.
And I went and looked at the T-bill, and I saw the 10-year Treasury bill, which is really what sets interest rates, not the Fed. Mortgage rates are really more tied to the 10-year T-bill. And I saw that chart, and that chart was like somebody drew a line straight up and down. There was no
money in it.
There was no angle to it at all. It was straight up.
If you're looking at a 1 day chart, right, or even like yesterday morning, you'll see that there was a pretty significant spike in the 10-year Treasury.
Oh yeah.
And then it settled down throughout the day. But yeah, if you look at it close enough, you'll see these sheer like, oh my God, that's a spike.
What just happened?
If you back out a little bit, it's, you know.
Well, we've been hanging around here, but I went when I read that the T-bill was going nuts, I went online, and what I did was I looked at where we were at that moment. We were roughly 4.5 then for the T-bill, right? Then I went back to the date, the last time we were at 4.5 for the T-bill, found out the date for that. And then I went back and looked at Freddie Mac, and Freddie Mac showed we were around 7.02. We're at 6.62 right now. When we were at the T-bill rates we are now, we were at 7.02 for Freddie Mac. Do you think that's where we are now, Mike? Is like we're in the sevens right now for real people?
Yeah, I think you would. Well, you could certainly expect the correlation between what's happening with the 10-year Treasury bond and mortgage rates, right? It's not exact, but you'll see that movement, those things follow. So yeah, I mean, a very good thing. Like the bond was at 4.5, pretty much 2 months ago, February 20th. And it was slightly above that or leading into that, right? So January, February were basically where we're at kind of right now.
Right.
And then it slowly got down, and we weren't really that low for
we only went down
even
about
March.
a half a point.
Yeah, it was like 4.3, 4 point, so then we had just like, 2 weeks where it got down near 4 o'clock or 4.
Yeah, like 3.9 or something. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I would expect the rates went down in that brief period, and then they went back up. And people talk about the spikes, and people are freaking out because you don't expect like, hey, today I'm quoted at, 6.75, and tomorrow I'm going to be quoted at 7, right? You're not expecting a day-to-day quarter point movement. So that's why the headlines come out like, oh my God, rates have jumped from yesterday to today, or from 2 days ago to today.
And we've been through this cycle on this show many, many times. In 2018, we went through this, right, where those rates started spiking. And also if we're not on a continued spike, we're definitely on what I call that churning up and down choppy market, right? Yeah. And I predicted that at the beginning of the year that we would have a very choppy market this year. In the first 4 months of the year, the last 10 weeks, let's say, 10 weeks before this week, we were very flat. It was pretty predictable what was going on with the interest rates. We were roughly 6.6-ish, right? And that's kind of where we were for 10 weeks. And then all of a sudden, we're going to go through the shock again. And we've gone through this a couple of times where the buyers, when you're in a choppy up and down, the interest rates are bouncing all over the place. It's a lot more stressful for buyers because they're wondering, I got to find my house before the interest rates go up again. Right.
Yeah.
And they're going through that.
I think about things like when you're like, how important is it to you as the buyer, like what's happening day to day in the market? And the truth is, until you have a close date, meaning you're in contract, like that's really when you can. And I hear commercials like, hey, we're going to lock in your loan with your pre-approval before you're even shopping. Well, if you do that, like your close date could be 3 months away or 4 months away. If you're locking in the loan that early, believe me, there's some protection in there for the lender against market movement. So you're just not, I hear it. It's kind of a gimmick, right? And we'll lock you in today at today's rates. But they could be right? Like the market could go the wrong direction. But the ultimate, like when is important? It's when you're considering locking or not. When can you consider locking or not? Basically, you're in contract. You got a close date. Like that's the moment where you say, hey, wait a second. What does it look like today? And then what's my prediction for whether I should lock it in now or wait till next week or wait till 2 weeks or wait till a week before closing?
And I know some people are always at the upper limits of their budget, but if somebody was paying, let's just say that they were budgeted to do 6.5%.
Yeah.
And it jumps up to 7.
Yeah. Or like you're doing your decision making, right? I've got my app where it has rates in there. That rate's not tied to the market. I basically have to go in and kind of adjust it based on your situation and what the market has for you. And if you're making your decisions and you're at the top end of your limit, absolutely that interest rate change could put you over your maximum. If nothing else changes, all things being equal, and the rate went up, yes, your payment's going up. Yes, that could put you over what you're able to use for qualifying. Which is why you hate to see these quarter point movements in a day, right? Like, because you can get out in front of it when there's like a kind of slow trend.
And it's going up.
And the truth is, yes, it can make a difference. How much would that 1 day to the next or 1 week to the next impact you unless you're really locking in? It's just like you're subject to market movement. Like that's it. You can't control it.
Yeah.
And when I look at this and of course these headlines where it's like, hey, the market's getting better, right? Like people were just waiting for rates are coming down news. Like, and so when rates went down 1/4 point over a 2 week period, that became like, get in while the getting's good. And if you're in the market and you're lined up and you're pre-approved and you're shopping, hey, you could have taken advantage of that. Maybe
and that's a good thing. Yeah.
Maybe those stars aligned in that moment, which is what we preach about all the time, which is if you want to be able to take advantage of that, you need to be watching. You need to have tools at your disposal so you can make decisions with, real information. And if you've been waiting for a house in this neighborhood at this price and this interest rate, and boom, you can now afford it, that you should be able to take advantage of that. If you're just sitting on the sidelines, Jim, and you haven't even talked to a real estate agent,
then it doesn't matter.
You haven't talked to a loaner, then like,
we're talking about people that like, I'm thinking when I'm putting out this message, people that are in the market right now, not the ones that are thinking about buying in the future, but like, are ready to buy now.
I was kind of getting up to like, so you feel this optimism started coming through it a couple of weeks of like, wait, the rates are going down. Holy cow, it's the best rate I've seen in a couple of weeks. And so people like want to get on that snowball, right? They want it to continue. And then you have this like, boom, check, reset. Wait a second, hold it. Bad news now. No more good news. Now it's bad news. And when you look at it, like, where are we right now? Like how did we finish this week, yesterday?
Kind of where we were.
Pretty much where we've been, January, February, and half of March.
The last 18 months,
right?
We've been around 6.5, 6.6.
Even further back, right? So the Treasury at 4.5 is basically lower than it was leading up till February 20th of this year, right? So I look at this stuff and it's hard because people talk about it and people are asking, and you don't have a lot of situations where someone's saying, "Hey, Mike, should I lock today or should I wait till next week?" And I always advocate locking as early as possible. But yesterday, I had 2 people where I said, you know what, I don't like today. Let's wait till Monday, right? Let's just see what happens. It might settle down because Fridays are always a little bit funky in the first place. But Friday there was just a weird,
It was very chaotic on Friday.
Yeah.
And here's a couple of things from the realtor's perspective about this. Okay. So if you're a buyer and you're all excited and now you see the rates go up and you're all depressed now because the rates went up a little bit. First of all, what's going to happen psychologically is there will be less buyers when they start reading these headlines. Now they come back and forth like a wave. So
it's a whole different
but
animal there.
but the thing is what I'm trying to say is that means you have less competition. So if you decide that, hey, I'm buying a house and I don't care if it's 675 or 7, right?
Yep.
Well, what the agent can do, if you got a sharp agent, they know that there's less buyers out there hunting at that moment, because we see when we hit close to 7s, people kind of disappear. And that gives the buyers that are still in the game a better opportunity to get at least an offset. So we know that 0.25% interest rate increase is 2.5% of somebody's purchasing power. So what do?
Lower your price.
You lower the price, right? You lower your price 2.5%. Now you're exact even where you were on that quarter point.
Right.
And people are going to say, well, how are you going to get the seller to do that? There are motivated sellers out there because the inventory is so large. There are certain sellers that have to sell, not because they want to sell or because they want to upside or downside. Some people are selling because they have to move for work. They get a divorce. They have a health issue. They're just getting older and they have to move to be closer with relatives. So all of those people, they are more willing to give you that price discount that you need when the interest rates go up. So as a buyer, don't let the interest rates be the determining factor whether you want to buy the house or not. If you have a command of interest rates, you can use them to offset things. If you have somebody who knows how to negotiate,
you could maybe extract so if you're extracting money from the sellers, then you think, well, what's the best place to use that? Maybe you keep the price the same, but you get some money from them, and then pay to get your rate 0.25 point lower, right? Pay discount points to get your rate a little bit lower. So yeah, you have to be working with professionals who understand that, who are kind of watching daily and taking advantage of the strength that buyers have. Even if rates are going up, buyers have more and more strength. I think in this market, it's continuing to go that way.
Yes.
Because days on market is extending, inventory is increasing. It's just more power for buyers right now in negotiating than there has been. And I agree with you, Jim. Like, the rate is not what should be your deciding factor to buy a home or not, right? Your deciding factors are first and foremost family life, like decisions. Now, I'm not saying the rate isn't important to your decision making. You have to be able to know ultimately what's this payment going to be on this home, and can we qualify for it, number one, and afford it, number two, or maybe those could be afford it, number one, and qualify for it, number two.
So price and interest rate and insurance,
all of those things are important to kind of giving information you need. You need information to make decisions, right? But are you in the market? Should you be looking at homes? Should you have talked to a loan originator? Should you be getting listings from a real estate agent? Yeah. Like, if that's you should have all that stuff lined up.
Yep.
Sure should.
Because it's almost, let's do the open house.
Florida.
I'm sorry.
TalkRealEstate.com. If you need a pros pro like that, if you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, stuck with a home, you don't know what to do, remember, FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. And yes, Jim, we have an open house at 11 o'clock. What's the details on that?
I'm so sorry. Hey, Chris Peterson from Keller Williams Innovations is going to be at 5 Danby, Danby Place in Boynton Beach and Boynton Lakes. Great community. This is a single family home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, about 1,400 square feet under air, and almost 2,000 under roof. It's got a 2-car garage, CBS construction. Really great part of the neighborhood in a cul-de-sac. Walk to the community pool. They actually have 2 community pools there. And brand new 2025 roof. I don't even know if it's 90 days old yet, that roof. It's brand new.
Nice.
So go out and meet Chris over there, 5 Danby Place, Boynton Beach. He'll be there from 11 to 2 o'clock today. Go out there and take a look at the property.
And details on Florida Talk Real Estate Facebook page?
Yeah, Facebook page today.
So if you're driving or you didn't get that information, remember Florida Talk Real Estate's Facebook page for that open house details. They're kicking it off basically right now, 11 to 2 today. And who else is out there with them today?
Oh, I'm sorry, and I forgot to mention that. Thank you, Johnny. You have a good memory. Haley Marguerite's out there from Keller Williams Innovations. She's another great agent, just helping support Chris on this one. So
fantastic.
Really help.
meet some pros, and of course, get out and see a remarkable opportunity in Boynton Beach. 11 to 2 with the details at Florida Talk Real Estate Facebook page. Florida Talk Real Estate also has a YouTube page. That's Florida Talk Real Estate LLC, home of a ton of informational chunk videos for you to consume, share, and enjoy. Some very informational, and there's even some entertaining ones on there. Some of the informational ones might even have a little entertainment in there. That's that infotainment we try to give you every Saturday. Thanks for streaming with us. Thanks for being with us. Always remember FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. That is your one-stop real estate shop. We dub it that for a reason. You get the whole team, pros, experts in their field. And if you're looking to buy a home, you're looking to sell your home, maybe you're doing it cohesively, sell a buyer. You're stuck with a home, you don't know what to do. Anything that touches the world of real estate, man, we got a professional for you. Always remember FloridaTalkRealEstate.com, a great resource. Know it, use it, love it, share it. You can change lives, including your very own, with the pros at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Mike Rauch, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. Have a great weekend.
You too, brother. Thanks, everybody.
Enjoy the start of your Passover.
Okay, we'll do.
Please, I insist. Jimothy, thanks for the Wardy decals.
Thank you, Johnny. Have a great weekend, guys.
Enjoy the start of your Passover.